Bonjour, today we will make a traditional quiche Lorraine from scratch. Let's start by the crust that we call pâte brisée. We need for this, all the quantity are at the end, 250 grams of flour, 125 grams of butter, a pinch of salt, 1 egg yolk and some water. We put the butter in the flour and we mix both together. We should not knead the dough. We don't want to develop gluten. With the tip of our fingers, we mix the ingredients. We press the butter and the flour. We call this action sablé, that means to sand, because the flour and the butter will become like sand. We can search the big pieces for destroying them. That's funny. Afterwards, we add the egg yolk and the salt in a little well dug in the flour. Afterwards, always without kneading the dough, we mix all the ingredients together. We add water until we can make a beautiful ball. The amount of water depends on the flour. The dough should not be sticky but not too much brittle. For homogenize the dough at the end, we make an action called fraîche. We should press the dough with the palm of our hand strongly in order to incorporate all the ingredients and amalgam all the surviving chunks of butter. And after we form a flat ball, and we wrap it in a saran wrap. We flatten the dough so that it is easier to roll out it later with a rolling pin. We let the dough some hours in the fridge air. In every case, 1 hour, it's a minimum. Even in a summer day, we can roll out a dough with butter. We have to use 2 parchment papers and roll out the dough between both. Like that, the dough will not stick on your rolling pin or your table, and you don't add useless flour. With the same pressure under our 2 hands, we spread the dough. We roll out it in many cents in order to make a circle that fits in our dish. I measure my dough with my dish. If your dough is a little melted, you can put it again in the fridge like I did. Afterwards, we can put the dough in the dish delicately. I don't know how to say that in English. We call that foncer the dough. I let it soften a little. I don't want to break it. I press in the angle of the dish. Afterwards, I try to smooth the outline of the dish. I cut the excess, and with a fork, we should prick the bottom of the dish. We will see why later. We can put the dough sometime in the fridge again, especially if the room temperature is too hot. To roll out the dough, sadly develop the gluten, let it in the fridge 1 hour if you're not rushed. Afterward, we preheat our oven at 350 Fahrenheit degree or 180 Celsius degrees. For pre-cooking the dough, we cover it with another parchment paper and put over the ceramic pies weight or raw bean. We put the dish in the oven for 10 minutes. Afterwards, we remove the weight and put the dish for another 5 minutes or so in the oven, because with the parchment paper, the bottom of the dough is often still wet. It's why we prick the dough earlier. With those little holes, the dough won't rise or inflate a lot. The crust has to retract a little, because it didn't rest enough in the fridge after being rolled out. But I have too much dough here for the mixture, so I don't really care. Now it's time to make the quiche mixture. I put 200 grams of lardons or bacon, 200 milliliters of heavy cream, 200 grams of crème fraîche, 3 or 4 eggs, a pinch of salt, pepper and nutmeg. You can change the ingredients and the proportion if you want. For example, you may put heavy cream or milk instead of crème fraîche, or use only crème fraîche, what is excellent, and so on. Let's start by cooking slowly our lardons. During this time, in a bowl, we mix the eggs. We add the cream and the crème fraîche and mix. And now, We salt a little. Don't forget the lardons are very salty. And we put pepper and nutmeg to taste. Now we put the lardon in the bottom of the crust without its fat, because the fat could go up during the cooking and form an uncooked puddle of fat on the top of our quiche. We don't want that. And after we pour our creamy mixture, you can also add cheese on it. Escoffier himself put gruyère on his, so gruyère and Emmental go well with this quiche. In my oven, I cook the quiche for 50 minutes at 350 Fahrenheit degrees until I get a beautiful color on the top. The creamy mixture will inflate like a soufflé. Don't stress, it will deflate. And now it's time to eat. I hope you'll try it. Merci, thanks.